have seen me read all 42 books of the Railway series. You have seen me review all 584 episodes and all 13 canonical movies of the TV series. And now, you are going to see me do the only thing left for a Thomas fan to do: create and showcase my own headcanon. Since I am coming up with more ideas pretty much every month for my own original Thomas stories I am writing for DeviantArt and reading for YouTube, I thought I would take the time to tell you all what my version of Sodor in these stories is like, what has been included, what has been excluded, and in between. I'm only doing this because I'm afraid some followers may be confused by my take on the series. I hope you will all like my ideas and that most of it will make some sort of sense. So let's get started with... Most of seasons 1 to 7 and 17 to 21 of the official show are canon to my own series of stories. Continuity references will include locations, characters, and storylines. However, there are a few episodes that either I've decided not to make canon, have been rearranged in different periods of history, or have been rewritten to fit in better with this AU. Most of seasons 9 to 16 and the specials in between are not canon, with the exception of the character introduction episodes like Mighty Mac, Thomas and the Birthday Mail, Welcome Stafford, etc., The Great Discovery, and Blue Mountain Mystery. Since I am including characters from those neglected seasons, movies, and episodes, I will have to rewrite their arrivals on Sodor. I will go into more detail on my plans on rewritten episodes later. The events of unscheduled stops occur as they did in the show, with Bulgy being restored as a bus again to help with Thomas's passengers. But instead of keeping him on the branch line after Bertie is repaired, he will be transferred to the Little Western line to help with Doc and Oliver's passengers. Even though they are less than pleased to see him return, they will need all the help they can get during the holiday seasons. There are some stories from the Railway series that are canon, but not all of them, and they take place during the 50s to 70s instead of the 80s and 90s. These canon stories are Stop Thief, Mavis and the Lorry, Toby Takes the Road, Scrambled Eggs, Down the Drain, Snow Problem, Washout, and Sliding Scales. The writing style I intend to use will mainly be based on the writing from the Brenner era. I will add realism whenever I can, but the stories will be focusing more on the characters and some forms of their development than 100% realism, just like in seasons 17 to 21. I am going to show you all of the seasons and show you all of the episodes that are canon to this AU. Season 1. Rusty to the Rescue is not canon. Stepney lives on the mainland. Season 5. Toby and the Flood, Toby's Discovery, Oliver's Find, and Rusty and the Boulder are unfortunately not canon, mainly due to location purposes. Season 6. It's Only Snow, Scaredy Engines, Percy and the Haunted Mine, Middle Engine, Buffer Bother, and Rusty to the Rescue are not canon. Season 7. Percy gets it right, What's the Matter with Henry, and Rheneas and the Roller Coaster are not canon. Season 8. Of the episodes are not canon. Seasons 9 to 12. the other episodes are not canon. Seasons 13 to 16. All of the other episodes and movies are not canon. Season 17. Henry's hero is not canon because of Hero staying in Japan. Season 18. Crossed is not canon. Season 19. Helping Hero is not canon because Hero stays in Japan. Henry spots trouble is not canon also. Season 20. Diesel and the Ducklings is not canon. And Season 21. Red engine on Sodor is not canon because of the changed origin/reason for Rosie's new red paintwork. A shed for Edward is not canon also because Edward has always slept at Wellsworth and there had been no Tidmouth sheds crash. Cranky at the end of the line, a new crane on the dock, and Emily in the middle are also not canon. From this point onwards, the timeline will be my original written stories, starting off with Off to See the World. This is the canonical timeline of my own original stories, including ones that are currently work in progress. The Island of Sodor map I was following for the first 13 stories was originally the 2014 Sam Wilkinson map, despite how inaccurate and or cluttered it is. But I have recently taken the time to design my own map. I basically took the Railway series version of the map and tried to add in as many Brenner-era locations as I could, taking the different lines, land terrains, and show-accurate scenery into account. Here is an overview of what the map includes. The main line, Thomas's branch line, the Little Western line, the Miniature Railway, the Harwick branch line, Edward's branch line, the Olvsted line, the Peel-Godred line, the Caldy-Fell Railway, the Kirk-Ronan branch line, the Normanby line, and the narrow gauge lines. This map might not be perfect, but it's the best I can do. Even though most of the first 20 seasons of the show are in continuity, I have the Steam Team members sleeping in different sheds, but occasionally all together at Tidmouth. Thomas, Percy and Toby sleep at Farquhar sheds. Edward has always slept at Wellsworth, along with Nia later on. Rebecca will sleep at Vickerstown with Rosie, and Gordon, Henry, James and Emily will sleep at Tidmouth. Mike, Rex and Bert and the Miniature Railway and the Caldy-Fell Railway and its engines are canon, but other Railway series exclusive characters, including Bear, Wilbert, Barry, the Auto Coaches, the Narrow Gauge Coaches, Jock, Frank, Ivo Hugh, Fred, Victoria, Pip and Emma, are not canon. Since my AU is based on the TV series, where the Skarloey engines all have different unique colours, I will also give each of the mountain engines different colours too. I don't have any stories for said engines, but I thought this was worth bringing up. This is just so that the audience can easily tell which engine is which. Carly, the new Dockside Crane, is currently not in my own AU of stories, although if I do plan to include her at some point, I would place her in a different section of Brendam Docks than her position in the current show, or maybe in a different harbour altogether. Placing her in between Cranky and Big Mickey makes it too cluttered there. The only OC characters that I might be including as background cameos are of my own OC, James the Antisocial Engine, Creative Peter the Caboose, to pay tribute to his creator, and maybe even a few of the OCs owned by the voice actresses in my YouTube readings, like Kirsty, Liz, and Mika. Some new characters that I had thought up myself will eventually be added in, including Larry the flatbed lorry, who helps transport Thomas all across the world, Eleanor, the snooty, high and mighty canal barge, and Sandy, the railway motorcar, an original series reimagining of the character from All Engines Go. Emily will be visually shown as the number 12 engine on the Fat Controller's railway. She was rewarded with the number 12 along with her new coaches after the events of Season 7's Emily's New Coaches, after rescuing Oliver and Thomas from crashing into each other. Considering how regularly Emily appears in the show as a main character, it makes sense, for me anyway, to give her her number that early on instead of 14 seasons later. The reason for Rosie's new red coat of paint is that she was rewarded for it. Before Nia arrived, Thomas was sent away to Edward's branch line to help with the busy traffic at the docks and at Wellsworth. In the meantime, the Fat Controller asked Rosie to do Thomas's duties on the Farquhar branch. Then, the events of the Railway series story, Washout, occur, but in a different way than from the original. Daisy teases Rosie for being painted in such an undignified color, but soon strong currents of one of the rivers damage an old wooden bridge until it's on the verge of collapsing. Daisy's front half is on the bridge when it begins to collapse. Rosie, who was coming in nearby, sees Daisy and her passengers in danger and succeeds in rescuing them. Daisy apologizes about making fun of her pink paint. After such an act of bravery, the Fat Controller rewarded her with a job of being the Vickerstown pilot engine and the new red coat of paint to make her more suitable for the job. Meanwhile, the branch line is temporarily closed until they build a new steel bridge over the river. During that time, Percy, Toby, and Daisy do services on the main line, while Thomas is still on the Brendan branch with Edward, Bill, Ben, and eventually Timothy. What happens at this time are the events of Scrambled Eggs, Down the Drain, and Tale of the Brave.
Except Thomas's branch line, which was closed for repairs to a damaged bridge.
Rebecca and Nia will be added to the Northwestern Railway differently than in the show. Rebecca is a mainland engine who is usually mocked by all the diesels over there. They think of her as inferior for being so outdated compared to themselves. She enjoys the Sudrian engines' company after the many adventures she occasionally has on Sodor. After helping one of the big engines at a later date, she asks the Fat Controller to stay working on Sodor, and he gladly accepts. She regularly pulls mainline trains, helps Henry with the flying kipper, and sleeps at Vickerstown sheds and away from all of the conceited diesels. Nia has been treated horribly on the Kenya-Uganda Railway by a mean controller. Thomas decides to take her with him to Sodor while visiting there, out of kindness. On Sodor, she is painted from her dull, dusty black livery to orange with yellow stripes, and she works on Edward's branch line, making deliveries for the animal park. I won't go into much detail about what aspects of these episodes I will change, but I will show a list of episodes I will consider rewriting to fit in better with my own continuity or to improve the story in general. These rewritten episodes will be Emily's New Coaches, The Old Bridge, Emily's Adventure, As Good as Gordon, Thomas and the New Engine, Thomas's Day Off, Edward Strikes Out, Emily's Rubbish, Don't Be Silly Billy, Tram Trouble, The Line of Sodor, Playtime, Splish Splash Splosh, Oh the Indignity, Edward the Hero, Big Bell, Don't Bother Victor, and the Flatbeds of Fear. The choice of episodes will subject to change depending on what I think. I think that's all I can say. I don't know when the readings of the first 13 stories will be uploaded to YouTube. I mean, I've got a lot of pictures to draw for it, but I am hoping to get them done as soon as possible, as well as writing some more stories that I hope to upload to DeviantArt. I just need to spend some time on them first. I hope you will all enjoy my own headcanon, and thank you all for watching.